Hello and welcome everyone. This is round two of Phoebe Witte's Lewis Chess Legends tournament. I believe we have some moves being played. And yeah, I actually can't really tell if the Lee chess board is working, the DGT board. So if anyone has moves there, let me know. And this guy's water bottle seems to be slightly in the way a little bit, but I can see that they have pushed what I believe is a D pawn. And then Phoebe played, is that E6? I don't, or is that an E? Is this a French defense? Um, what do you guys think? You guys tell me. Yeah, we're a little zoomed out, but yeah, the video is delayed 15 minutes. I'm delayed by the natural process in which it takes me to read the chat, uh, which hopefully isn't that long, but it's been bad before. So, speech has saying it's E6. All right, I'll just stick with E6. That's a fairly normal response, right? The easy gig with the blocked view. All right, so it looks like, is that E4? Are we transposing into a French? Probably. That's probably what happened. And then I don't know. I can't. It's hard to tell. Also, the the camera feed that I'm getting is actually rotated, so it's even harder to see. Okay, the lead chess board's working. Great, great. Honestly, I should probably just I should have waited a little bit longer. What do you guys think? Should I pause the video feed and let the lead chess board catch up? Probably that'd be smart. I may have jumped the gun here. So I think that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna pause that. So my apologies. I'm gonna let the lead chessboard catch up to the video. In the meantime, let's discuss some of what happened leading up to this moment. So first and foremost, Phoebe from the Netherlands. She traveled long and far to get to the country of Norway, where this is being held. I believe a city called Trondheim. I'm not entirely sure if that's pronounced right or not. But what I do know is that it's the land of Hammer, who was also playing in this tournament. Unfortunately, not streaming this event. I was really hoping that he could set something up, but either he didn't want to get a commentator or didn't want to stream it or what have you. But okay, I'm gonna play the video now. It looks like we have an advanced French. But anyways, yeah, Phoebe apparently also met Eric Rosen, and Pia Cramling is also here, the famous grandmaster mother of Anna Cramling. But yeah, yesterday was round one, a great start to a great event. Phoebe getting the job done with a win with the white pieces, but not without its drama. Phoebe played off some spectacular moves, finishing a tactic by winning a queen for a rook. But at the very end, Phoebe grabbed a pawn, allowing for a counter tactic that Black could have used both rooks to win another rook for the queen and get the king on the back rank. It would have ended in a win for Black had they played it out, but they lost a passed pawn, and after defending for so long and losing for so long, they ended up resigning in a completely won position. So Phoebe, not without her ups and downs in her first round victory. We'll see how things go today here in round two. So far, so good. I think Phoebe's in theory still. Unfortunately, we don't really get a good clock view. If anyone can read the clock time on this clock at their board, I'll be very impressed. I guess Lichess has the clocks. Should I add some Lee chess clocks to the stream? That'd be kind of funny. Ah, I missed a knight move. Anyways, Phoebe, after getting a win in round one, she's been rewarded with a strong opponent here. 1802. 2 elo above 1800. Phoebe's rocking the 1669. Very solid rating. All right. Let's see if we can work some OBS magic and add some clocks. Yeah, I should have mentioned the water bottle being in the way, but looks like Phoebe's got herself a Starbucks. Yesterday I saw what she was drinking. Ah, the water bottle magically moved. Perhaps he heard me, or perhaps not. I don't know. Did I get the permission, Fly? It's a good question. That I don't know. Shout out to Najol and Dirkia, Ofta, Dijon, Speed Chess, Percy, Derp, Jolo. I hope Derp doesn't mind the name abbreviation. Everyone's getting the shout outs, Askaya, including Adam. And of course, PMD. How could I forget? The gang's all here. Shout out to the chat. Day 2. If anyone missed day 1, highly recommend you go. Go look back, watch that. Fantastic commentary by Alexandra and Max. And Phoebe's got a wonderful lineup. You guys, I'm only filling in for today. I'll be back on the weekend, but there's going to be some lovely commentators covering Phoebe's games. So definitely keep an eye out for that. It should be the same round times every day, to my knowledge, which is a bright and early 8 a.m. for me. Some of you might notice there's a bit of sunlight on my face. That's because there's a sun out there shining into my window, and I don't have better shades, so this is what I'm working with. Most people probably haven't seen me wake up this early. No coffee for me, but yeah, yesterday I thought I saw Phoebe. Oh, we have a gambit from the opponent Abishan here. Kingside castles after Phoebe grabs a pawn in the center. So Phoebe perhaps can continue grabbing pawns. I did survive the earthquake. I did feel that one. For anyone wondering, Los Angeles had an earthquake last night, and some well-informed viewers in chat might be aware because Blood Queen, a streamer from Los Angeles, was live during the earthquake. You can go check it out. I believe it was clipped. But yeah, nice shaky cam to show the audience. And Blood Queen is another commentator that's going to be joining this broadcast later. I believe she might be on Friday and joining me on Saturday, if I'm not mistaken. How many hours of sleep? You know, that's a great question. And sometimes you don't want the answer to all of the questions that you have to ask, so. Is this the famous coach prep, Jolo asking? That is a good question. But apparently the opponent has played something else, so we'll see. Louise slowing down, she's thinking here. after castles. So yeah, good to have Nodule in the chat giving us some insider information. We've looked at this, but it's perhaps deviated by now. So Phoebe probably on her own. Joe doesn't sleep. That's more of an accurate statement. Did Joe just call Phoebe Louise? I don't know, but I did read PMD's comment saying Luis may join commentary, which is very pog if true. But yeah, Phoebe has announced the commentary lineup in her Discord, !Discord, if you want to join that and check it out. All right, opponent has gotten up, walked away, so he's thrown Phoebe off a little bit with castles, potentially a gambit if Phoebe continues to capture, which she could. If she does, she'll have a 2-on-1 majority in the center. And White will take back with their knight, saying, I'm going to be ahead in development. Phoebe a couple moves away from castling still, getting developed. Her knight on g8. Going to be a bit harder to develop in this advanced French structure, thanks to the pawn on e5, preventing a quick knight f6. So Phoebe is at a moment here worthy of thinking. She's developing or she's capturing. One of these options I think she'll choose. They're all fine. The computer is liking bishop d7, maybe to castle queenside. Shout out to Nodule as well. Many may know Nodule as a coach, but Nodule is a streamer and a player. So Nodule is going to go play in his own tournament. Good luck to him. Unfortunately, not streaming it to my knowledge. Perhaps was not guaranteed a DGT board. Nodule is a player for sure. At what opponent rating do you stop taking free pawns? Mercy me. That's a great question. I mean, listen, if a pawn is free, I'm taking it all day. Doesn't matter what the opponent's rating is. And they say you should play the position, not the opponent, right? So a lot of times you don't really want to know what the opponent's rating is going into it. I'm actually not sure if the opponent yesterday had a rating. They might have been provisional or unrated. Someone please correct me if I'm wrong. But yeah, Phoebe definitely took advantage yesterday, got the full point, which is the best case scenario. Yesterday's opponent was indeed unrated. Thank you, chat. Lots of knowledgeable people, lots of fans. All right, opponent has returned to the board. Phoebe has yet to move. I will take this time and do what I said I would do earlier and add these clocks. So let's go ahead and try to do that. All right, Phoebe's reaching out. She's made a move. Looks like she's developed a knight to h6, which is common in a French defense. Now White has a chance to either take it or leave it. And now Phoebe takes her turn to get up and walk around a bit. So we'll see how quickly White decides to make their response, to take the knight or to leave it. Okay. I think the lead chess board is a little faster. Should I fast forward a move? We'll see. Let me add these clocks first. Let me do this. Whoops. Is knight h6 normal? Is the French normal? That's my counter question. The French defense, I mean, not my preferred opening choice, but I've definitely seen a few knight h6s in my day. I will say knight h6 normally isn't a move. Because you want to put the knight in the center, right? You want to put the knight where it's contributing the most. Knights on the rim are dim or grim, depending on what you prefer saying in the moment. So, yeah, is it normal? Yeah, in a French defense, it's sometimes necessary because the pawn in the center prevents you from going where you want to go on f6. My boy Magnus Geary, thank you for the sub. Appreciate that. Are there any other nationalities in her group? I believe there are. Thank you, Asa, for the follow. All right, these clocks are a little small. Sorry, I should have done this beforehand, but that's okay. Okay, so it looks like knight b d2 was played. What was Phoebe's move? So Phoebe decided not to capture again. Now after knight b d2, I'm actually hoping now she takes. Now would be a fantastic time for Phoebe to take. Phoebe's returning to the board. And the reason why this is now a good time to take is because the only reason why you wouldn't want to take the extra pawn is because the knight would recapture with faster development. Now that the knight has already developed, white would have to take back with the pawn. So this would be a fantastic time for Phoebe to take and hold a pawn advantage. So People tell me that Phoebe drinks tea and not coffee. So I'm not entirely sure if you can tell what she's drinking based off the Starbucks cup that she has. But yesterday's drink you could see, and I thought it was a coffee for a second because of the dark color. So if it was tea, I'm guessing she must have added some sort of cream or milk, which frankly I think is a bit of a British thing. Or maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Someone's asking if Phoebe's wearing a sweater. I do see that she is wearing her watch, which is a classic. Always important to know what time it is. And Phoebe, stylish as always. And there she goes, taking a sip, as she thinks. Important to stay hydrated. Geezer prefers tea to coffee. Me too. I'm a tea guy myself. I don't really go out of the way to get tea though. I usually just drink water. All right, so Phoebe has made her move, it looks like. I just about have the clocks ready, so that's exciting. Okay, so Phoebe has captured, which is fantastic. And now White is going to respond. Hello, Smurfette. Good to see you. Shout out to Smurfette. I didn't know Smurfette's a streamer. I learned this the other day recently, which is it was surprising to me. I don't know what I had in my mind as an idea of what Smurfette or who Smurfette really is. But I learned. So that was exciting. What's up, Dirk? Yeah. Hi, Jerome. And yes, hello to Geezer. Geezer also a streamer. All right. How are those clocks? I tried. Doesn't look half bad. Took me so long, but you know, here we are. Anyways, I think I should try to fast forward the video, like honestly. Let's see. Hmm. What move are we on? Is Phoebe winning? It's very early on, but you know what? I'm just gonna say yes. Phoebe's absolutely crushing right now. I mean, listen, guys. As the saying goes, a pawn is a pawn. If you were to count the pawns in the position, Phoebe's got one more. And that is what we call quick maths. All right. So after the capture, Phoebe then has moved her knight on the edge of the board into g4. Listen, guys, things are looking so good. And we just got a huge raid from the one and only Witty Alien. Witty Alien, some people think is related to Phoebe because Witty's name is like Phoebe's last name. But I can't confirm if that's true or not. So maybe Witty can let us know. They're both from Europe, so I don't think it's that far-fetched. Shout out to Witty. Thank you. From one Witty to the next. Appreciate that. Welcome in, everyone. You guys are tuning in at a fantastic time. Phoebe's creating a giant threat here. This game might end in just a matter of moves. So don't blink. You might miss a huge tactic. Shout out to Luis Chess, who's tuning in, perhaps taking notes. Who knows? But Phoebe doing her homework, making sure that she's on top of all the action before her huge commentary gig coming up. Shout out to Norder. Thank you for the sub. And PMD gifting to Luis Chess. Love that. Only the board and camera are delayed, but not Joe. I'm definitely delayed. I barely caught that raid. I was very focused on adding these clocks to the board. Yeah, shout out to Louise Chess. Not only is she a fantastic streamer, chess player, but she's also a YouTube extraordinaire. She's been killing the YouTube game in just a matter of posts. Recently featured on Gotham Chess for her Guess the ELO game. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? You're missing out. Go check it out. Luis played an absolute roller coaster game live, actually. But busting out some insane tactics to get the job done. I shouldn't spoil it, but it was a great game. I'll leave it at that. Why are you shiny today, Tanish? I'm up early. Usually I stream at night, so you guys are seeing natural light on me, perhaps for the first time. This is an ungodly hour for me. The players are playing. It's like 5:30 p.m. or something. For me, it's 8 in the morning. So, had to wake up before 8 for this. You know, shout out to the West Coast. His name is not Witty. Wait, what? SL Shack, you just shattered my world, my worldview. I thought that he was Phoebe's brother. They're not the famous Witte sisters, brothers, siblings. I don't know how many more Wittes there are in the world, or from out of this world for that matter. I don't even know. Is Witte from planet Earth or? Thank you, Born. Appreciate that. Bishop c5 here, maybe. That was immediately my first thought, Jerome. I'm definitely not part of the Witte family. That's true. Didn't need to point that out, but appreciate that. Can't wait for Luis's commentary to make it on the air. For now, she's just relegated to the chat, so I don't know if I should be reading her comments or not, because I don't know if it's in my best interest to. So I gotta really cherish this opportunity commentating solo while I can, because this weekend I'm gonna be joined by a couple of rapscallions, Blood Queen on Saturday and Luis on Sunday. Shout out to Arsh Kapoor for the raid of 2. Hello and welcome in. This is Phoebe Witte's round 2 of the Lewis Chess Legend, where she herself is fighting to become one of these legends. Some would say she's already a legend, especially after the first round. She probably could have dropped out at that point and just been like, I've done it. But no, she's powering through here in round 2. And I heard that she actually wasn't even feeling well today. So we'll see if that affects her game at all. But yeah, bishop c5 triples down on the f2 pawn, posing a big question. And yeah, this is actually a huge moment for a tactic, you guys. Because of this bishop move, the computer is saying that you can just take on f2 already. Could Phoebe possibly be considering this idea? I mean, it's a strong idea, and we're only on move 11. Barely over 10 moves in. And Phoebe has a chance to snag a second pawn here with a gnarly tactic. Now, the thing you have to calculate when you're looking at this potential piece sacrifice is that after bishop c5, you have a block. Or do you? Because you can simply take, there's no recapture. So this tactic completely works out in Phoebe's favor. You do have to consider like what happens if the knight gets trapped. But we're lining up a lot of discoveries here. So we're going to have to see if Phoebe goes for this. Opponent barely using any time of the clock. I mean, only 7 minutes. This is a 90 plus 30 plus 30. Time control. That's a lot of time. An opponent's playing perhaps too quickly, allowing for knight takes on f2. This is a dream scenario already out the gate. Tombo asking if I'm Dutch. So yeah, believe it or not, my last name's actually not Bruin. It's Lee. So Bruin is a nickname from my school's mascot. I went to UCLA. What rating am I on? For FIDE, you don't want to know? Listen, I'm American, okay? So the fact that I even have FIDE, I think is impressive enough. What it exactly is, we don't really have to talk about. You could probably figure it out if you're really curious. Probably someone smart in chat could leak it. But you know, we don't have to look at our FIDE ratings, you guys. We're defined by more than just that. I have chess.com blitz rating. That's pretty good. I mean, if we had to choose one, you could look at my bullet rating. You might as well look at my tactics rating, honestly. Uh, but yeah, online I'm around 2100, 2200. Lee is not Italian to my knowledge. Name leaked, exactly. Name reveal and face reveal. Not for me, but maybe for Phoebe's opponent. I don't know. He's walking around over there. He might know that he blundered and so doesn't want to even be at the board, as he might give a tell to Phoebe. So Phoebe's just staring at the board here. The question is, does she know that she's got a juicy tactic? Joe's 3,000 in our hearts. If your heart is based off of chess.com puzzles, then that's about right. Best teacher, thank you, Speed Chess. I don't know if it's true. Famous man, Akachuk. I don't know who you're talking to. Rating reveal. Yeah, so I guess my FIDE is like around 1750. I don't even know. But my USCF is around 1900. And yeah, my online rating's over 2100. I've never hit 2300 online. That's kind of the next milestone. That or 2000 USCF would be nice to get to, but I don't really play much over the board, unfortunately. But I do enjoy watching chess of all levels. Phoebe's looking around. I feel like she knows that this is a big moment, a big opportunity. The question is, does she see it and does she have the confidence to play it? Imagine she just destroys this guy and she just does it and she just plays knight takes f2. I mean, what is opponent even doing after that? We're lining up this this discovery. There's no threat of smothered mate. That would be absolutely amazing. But the queen is guarding this square. But knight takes with knight h3 would be a double check. But the king could go actually either square in that position. If the king goes in the corner, the famous queen sacrifice doesn't quite work here, because after the recapture, the knight check doesn't come with the mate because of the queen. Yes, and if the king goes towards the center, actually, then queen to either square is not mate because both squares are covered. So the point of knight takes f2 is potentially to win material if they take. But even if they don't take, we are still winning material. We're winning that pawn on f2. And it's a very valuable pawn. It's an important pawn for the defense of the king. And she's already up a pawn, so being up a second pawn is even more advantageous. What does the engine say after all of that? The engine says it's over +3, which makes sense, right? If they block on d4, we're just winning the knight. Because the opponent cannot recapture. She would be up a queen if that happens. We looked at this line briefly, but just to show it again. Here, and knight takes, there's no recapture because you win the queen. So this is reading it over -3. Now, the best move after knight takes f2 is not to take with the queen. The computer is calling for a move rook to b1, which hits the queen. And this is something very important that you have to realize, is that yes, we can take on f2, but perhaps our queen isn't so safe. Here it's calling for this check. If we move the queen, now they take. There's no bishop c5 anymore, right? So we cannot stay on this diagonal. If you give knight h3 check, king h1, let's say, and I actually don't even know how we get out of this, as we both now have our knight and queen hanging. So computer is calling for, I mean, it's saying to repeat. Hold on. Let me see if I can get more lines. Let's up the lines to 3. There we go. I thought that should be default. Wow, there's this crazy idea. Knight takes d3, knight takes on e1, giving up the queen. And it likes black there. I don't suspect Phoebe would go for this. She is taking. She took on f2. Oh my god. It gets so complicated after rook b1. Hold on. This is crazy. We have some insane tactics. You think they'll play rook f1? Wow. And you could see both players next to Phoebe are looking at this board like, oh my god, what on earth is going on over there? Shout out to Hannah. Hello and welcome. You're tuning in at an absolute thriller moment. Just barely 11 moves into the game, opponent allows for this tactic that Phoebe's just played. And she still has over an hour on the clock. Hold on. There's some moves coming in. Or am I wrong? No, opponent's not even at the board. So neither player at the board. This is a fantastic moment to thank the chairs for their support. Can we get a chair command in chat? Phoebe is very popular not only among streamers, but amongst audiences worldwide. She's got fans in multiple continents tuning in all across the world. Can we look at knight takes bishop line? Okay, so top recommendation, we want to attack this queen. Now, the best line from here, the top choice, we give the double check, no time to take the queen, the king has to move, and then the knight can make it to f4, pressure on this queen. So that is the top choice. That's how you would get out of it. Opponent has returned and sees the devastation on the board. Now, this is if rook b1's played. Opponent hasn't made their response yet. If we look at the queen sacrifice, knight takes, rook takes, knight takes this rook. Oh, that's not it. That is not at all what the computer wants. It wants to take on c1 with tempo on the queen. Rook takes, and now we take this rook. So essentially we get both bishops plus a rook for the price of a queen. So yeah, it's worth it, but it's very scary to play down a queen, regardless of how much material you would get for it. So I guess you don't even get both bishops. You get one bishop because you give up a knight. I mean, you do get the bishop pair, both bishops, but you do lose a knight. So you'd be up one minor piece and a rook for the queen, plus the pawn. So technically, it would be even material-wise. But I don't think that's what Phoebe should go for. We'll see what white even does. They might not even play rook b1. Yeah, you could see he missed this. I just saw him raise his eyebrows, and oh, yeah, he does not feel good. He's taking a sip, sunglasses off, head in his hand, maybe working up a sweat. He knows he's on camera too. His whole chess career flashing before his very own eyes. But oh my goodness, shout out to Phoebe finding a killer move. I mean, this is barely a dozen moves into round 2. Phoebe's in form. She's returned, crossing her arms, taking a sip, feeling good. And why shouldn't she? It feels good to play good. And man, is she playing good right now. Dream opening. Couldn't ask for more. And she gets to play knight takes f2. Well, yeah, rook hasn't been played to b1 yet. That is the top computer line, so we have to wait to see what he does. So he's gonna take his time here. He's gonna take his sweet time because he didn't do that earlier, so he has to do that now. The game is far from over. Let's be clear. This is not a one game just yet. Phoebe's got a lot of work left ahead of her, but she's positioned herself perfectly, taking this opportunity to get the most out of the position. And it's a matter of conversion and technique. Of course, it's still very tricky. Rook b1, the first hurdle of many that Phoebe's going to have to maneuver through. We'll see if she goes for the knight h3 double check, or if she goes for the material imbalance, taking both bishops and the rook. Not an easy line to go down, but as soon as you see knight h3 to f4, and I'll show this, double check, king moves, knight to f4, saying if you take my queen, I'll take your queen. My knight can escape, and your rook can escape, but we trade queens, and I'm up 2 pawns. And there's really no good way for the queen to move that would also attack the knight, right? Because then our queens could just trade. So if queen to f1, then we can simply move the queen back to, say, c7, and life is good. So yeah, we just have to wait and see. Wait, did they just play queen f2? I don't think so. No, this was my analysis, surely. We will wait and see what opponent does. He's pouring himself some more water. Unfortunately, the hydration will not save his position now. It's too late for this. No, I'm just kidding. It's always good to stay hydrated, winning or losing. And I'll remind you guys, yesterday's win from Phoebe was not so smooth sailing. She was up a queen for a rook, but at the very last move, she blundered. Her opponent could have actually won the game had they played on just a couple more moves, but both players, it seemed, missed a winning tactic for black, and the opponent resigned early, luckily for Phoebe. So Phoebe could be up a queen. It doesn't matter. You still have to win the game. But this is really big. Yesterday's game, essentially winning with an early resignation. A lot of people saying, how could you miss that? How could you resign in a winning position? The players don't see the eval bar. All they have are their own thoughts, which could be brutal. We don't know what this man's going through right now, but it is not pleasant for sure. So that psychological battle is huge. We'll see how strong Abishan is if he's able to react to this. He could continue to collapse, or he could really flip the switch. He could say, you know what, listen, it's far from over. We still have a game. I'm not checkmated. We could go into this. Rook b1 and see what she does. Oh yeah, Phoebe played a blitz tournament. I was able to tune in for a little bit. Is king f1 a move? King f1 is a move, but it's not very contesting. Phoebe can simply take the bishop on d3. She could just get the knight out of there. If rook b1's played, Phoebe will have a 20-minute thing. Phoebe should be using this time to think. I mean, obviously she has to wait and see what the opponent will do. But Phoebe should already have a plan, which she often does. But that's a common mistake a lot of players make, is they don't think on their opponent's time. But that is a large chunk. I mean, that's half the time of the game. Imagine, it's like playing with time odds with half your clock. So Phoebe should remain focused here. If her opponent surprises her with the response, that's a good time to think. So we'll see. It depends on what he does. I'm hoping, there's really no way that white could blunder a smother. We would love to see a smothered mate. Knight h3 followed by the queen sack on g1. But the only real way to do that is if the queen left protection of f2, which you're not really going to see. You're not going to see... Oh, maybe... No, but that doesn't get... Really, blundering the queen in one move would be the only way to do it, unfortunately. So... But yeah, I don't know how many of us could say we did a smothered mate in a classical game. But that would definitely be an achievement unlocked. Phoebe's out here completing side quests on the board. I don't know if she's ever been to Norway before, but it's a beautiful venue. If you guys aren't following Phoebe on Instagram, you're missing out. Definitely go over, check that out. She posted a reel showing a bit of the city. Not only is she playing chess, but she's enjoying the experience with her travel, and she's graciously spending the time and energy to share with us. So, yes, exclamation point socials. Shout out to the mods. Am I the videographer? No, I'm just one of the many commentators. But yeah, shout out to Phoebe and her team helping her make this possible. And shout out to I'm assuming it's Phoebe's own editing skills. I'm just gonna assume. I don't know if Phoebe has an editor. If she does, that they did a great job on the recent post. Basically, it was a Wes Anderson film. So it could have been Wes Anderson that edited it. I couldn't tell the difference. It very well could be. I don't know if Phoebe and Wes are friends. I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe we'll have to ask her afterwards. All right, good luck, Nodule. Take care. You think so, Fly? I think I could meet Wes if Phoebe introduces us. So probably I'll have to meet Phoebe first. All right, we have a viewer in person checking out the position. That's for the tier 3 sub right there. You get to go in person and you get the first row seat. So, um, yeah, love that for us. Phoebe might have just given a little side eye. I don't know. I definitely know if there's a lot of streamers out there that would have been like, excuse me, there's a camera. I don't know if Phoebe noticed. But there's a really good chance that Phoebe is just too kind to say anything. I feel like that's kind of the Phoebe Witte way. But yeah, she's a sweetheart. She's been doing her best to get these tournaments broadcasted. Not the easiest thing to do. You'd have to reach out to the organizer, you get permission. There's a lot of work behind the scenes to make this happen. So always nice to have the video feed as well as a DGT board. And hope that things and people don't get in the way all the time. It's a classic battle between chess streamers and spectators or even the arbiters themselves. That happens a ton of the time, especially at the very end of the game where the arbiter's like coming over to set up the pieces. You try to get a glimpse of maybe the players share a moment of analysis, some discussion, a handshake. A lot of great moments have been interrupted by an unaware arbiter. But you know, they have a job too. So also, you know, some people they just like to be on camera. Name names? Why am I shy? Well, why do I have to name names when we have Fly naming names already for us? Sometimes as a commentator, I'm just trying to do the minimum job required. I just have to say some streamers, and it already paints the picture in your mind. I don't even have to do the hard work. I just have to, you know, toss the ball in the air and trust that the chat can hit the slam dunk. And it helps when I have such fantastic viewers hanging out in the chat. Screw saying you have to admit that you know Joe in order to get DGT. Yeah, that hasn't worked for me, but if that worked for other people, I'm glad. I don't know those people, PMD. I went with the basketball reference when frankly I don't know that many basketball players. Not gonna lie. I haven't been keeping up much with the Olympics either, unfortunately. But Apparently, the U.S. is doing really well, as always. So, anyways, all right. So, opponent has made a move. What that move is exactly, I am not so sure. Ah, it was rook b1. Okay, so he's played the best move. And now we will see what Phoebe does in response. This is the big question. And this is what she should have been considering even before she took on f2. This had to have been a line that she saw and analyzed. If you don't see rook b1 after you take on f2, you're flying in blind, which would be wild. But I won't rule it out as a possibility. We have to move the knight here. She has to go, and she's played quickly. Knight h3 check. Fantastic. This is exactly the amount of time I was hoping that Phoebe would spend on this. Rook b1, there's no need for a 20-minute think. Phoebe had this cooked already. She had the oven preheated. And she gets to get up and walk away and say, I already had this. I saw this 3 moves ago. Where have you been? He's not even at the board. He's coming back. He's like, man, I really was hoping that she would think a little bit longer on this one. But nope, knight h3, discovered double check. Phoebe's getting 2 for the price of 1. Phoebe up on time, up in pawns. She's just up in life. This guy, meanwhile, down on time, down on pawns. He's in shambles. Rook b1, knight h3, double check. He's got to figure out where the king wants to move. He's got a coin flip. King in the corner. Played. King h1. And now Phoebe, she could even repeat if she really wanted to. Just absolutely flex on him. I don't know. What do you guys think? Does she go for the repeat? Always repeat, right? I mean, what a flex. If she does that, that's got to be not great on the mental. It would be so savage. Oh my God. Okay. I kind of want to see it. It would be so brutal. I don't think Phoebe as a person is the kind of player to do that. Frankly, I'm expecting knight f4. I think knight f4 is what Phoebe's going to play. But let's just like take this opportunity before she gets back to just experience the savagery in our imaginations if she goes back to f2. Like I'm expecting knight f4 more. I know that if she plays knight f2, she wouldn't threefold. I would not expect her to do that and take a perpetual. That's absolutely not going to happen. But it's something in the back of my mind that if she goes for knight f2 the first time and she goes knight h3 a second time, she really is forced to find knight f4 at that point. Otherwise, the game would end in a very quick draw, which none of us want to see, Phoebe included. Please no queen g1 check. Yeah, she's not going to go for a smothered mate. She's too smart. She has another hour. She does have a lot of time. But yeah, big moment here. Does she go for the repeat knight back to f2? Which would just be absolutely brutal. would be really funny. Or does she simply go for knight f4? Either way, very exciting that Phoebe has this. Queen g1, triple leg slam. No, no, no. No, no, no. Why is it savage? Well, yeah, it adds time to the clock, but when you have over an hour, I don't know how much the extra 30 seconds is really a factor. Some maybe would disagree with me. I mean, usually you see this at the end of the game. More about getting closer to time control. Yeah, I mean, that's another good point. Who knows? We'll see. Getting closer to time control probably would be beneficial for Phoebe, but usually in these sort of positions where you're very clearly winning or better off, keeping your opponent in time pressure, I think, is also a good idea. Take care, PMD. Thanks for being here. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Hannah. I think for Phoebe, because of her play style and how long it takes her, how much time she spends, I think it makes sense to repeat and go for, a faster time control to get to move 40. But yeah, she's played knight f4 here, um, which is the best move. She's going after the queen. And yeah, she doesn't have to worry about her queen being hit by the rook now. Anonymous gifting the fly. Appreciate that. Hey, Alan. She ain't messing around. Dude, no, she wasn't messing around when she took on f2. I mean, let's go back to that here, and the pawn needed to be defended by a rook. So opponent defends with the queen, and now you can't let your queen get pinned. That's what allowed this capture. So opponent was really caught off guard with this, thought they could just develop the queen. They were not aware of the tactical beast that was sitting across from them at the board. Knight takes f2, played by Phoebe. And that was not the move. We had knight h3. Sorry. King in the corner. And now, yeah, she goes for knight f4. Let's see. So, has opponent made their move yet? No. They could trade queens. Probably when you're down 2 pawns, you don't want to do that. Phoebe would be quite happy, as she herself typically will go for a queen trade. What's up, Dino? Good to see you. Bash City. Why doesn't White take the horse? Yeah, it was a double check. No, you're good. Knight check was a double check. It was a discovery as well as a knight check. So the king was forced to move the corner, and now the knight was hanging, but has the opportunity to escape with the counterattack on the queen. Screws can't gift subs anymore. I guess Twitch is finally implementing step 1 of their long-term ban of Screws, not taking his money. I mean, yeah, I don't want to think where Screws gets his money to begin with, so I don't know. Can I really blame Twitch? Twitch probably knows more about Screws than any of us do. Shout out to Gremlin. What's up? Good to see you. No, I honestly, to be really truthful with you all, which is rare for me, I will say Twitch not taking Screws money is a Twitch L for sure. I don't know. They're missing out. Screws is a high roller. Some even would go as far as to say a baller. So they're missing out. Also, while we're talking about Twitch L's, can we just like talk about their Twitch app? Like, wow, it's so bad. Like, how do they mess it up that bad? Like, seriously. What are they doing over there? You like that? Oh, Jolo. I mean, how? Are you scrolling through streams on your phone? Lunch break. Hope it's going well, Grim. Nobody likes the Twitch. Oh my God, Twitch talk. They're trying to TikTokify the Twitch app. I mean, like, can they at least do some testing and prove that it's like, I would be shocked if more people are using the app because of these new features and updates. Okay, Queen C7 played from Phoebe. You had to uninstall it, Streezy. You're braver than me. They don't care about the existing users. It's crazy. All right. So, Phoebe has navigated the knight takes f2 maneuver. And now she has to play the rest of this game. So, opponent spent a lot of time on rook b1 because they were shocked by knight takes f2. But now we've largely gotten through that. And now I think the players are kind of just playing from scratch a little bit here. So knight to g5. This is a discovery on the knight. Phoebe can trade off the knight for the bishop. She still needs to actually take on d3 is kind of wild. Your knight's pinned a little bit now that I look at it. But this is actually what the computer wants, if you can believe it. Queen takes, and you simply just move the king over and say, so what? So this is a huge moment. We'll see, because essentially what you're saying is, like, yeah, you can take this pawn. It's not checkmate. I can still move my king. Maybe you could take this if you want as well, but my king is now defending the queen, so my bishop's not pinned. Yeah, you can take here, but, I mean, come on, I just took your bishop. So knight takes, and probably white has to take back. But the computer is saying that you should just take on f7 and then move the rook to f1, but that would be an extra piece for Phoebe. I mean, this is definitely another interesting key moment here. Phoebe just under an hour. We'll see. She's given the opportunity to take and risk. Otherwise, I mean, no, you can't really save the knight now that I'm looking at it even further. There's no, I mean, you could play h6, but the computer says knight takes f7, and it's largely equalized, I guess. I don't know. It's crazy. This is a really important key moment here. Again, so knight takes is best. This is top choice. But yeah, like she cannot retreat to g6 or anywhere else really. The knight cannot be saved. So either Phoebe takes the bishop, knowing that she's going to be okay, and much better actually, or she has to create a counterattack like h6 or f6. I don't want either of these pawns to be pushed. There's no better counterattack than to simply just take a piece. She has to be confident in allowing queen takes f7, knowing that she'll be good. Good night to Hannah. Sorry if I missed ya. I don't know what time it is down under. Probably I should know. If I had the white pieces, could I pull it back and win? I have no idea. Like, the best I could do is try. I'm assuming you mean against Phoebe. Like, probably not. It's a classical game. From this particular position, yeah, knight takes d3 is tough. Knight takes d3 is tough, but it's complicated. Because then you can't castle. Your king's on the run. And it gets trickier, actually, too. Knight takes, we could just dive into this line. King d8 is forced. The computer's calling for rook f1, and I'm thinking there's even potential queen sacrifices here. And the point is not to, like, win the rook in the corner, but I think if you're forced to block with the bishop, knight takes actually comes with a fork. You get the queen back. So it's possible you could go wrong. Knight takes c1, just taking more material. White should take back. But yeah, this is kind of curious. Probably not the best, because at this point you don't block with the bishop. You could just give up. But yeah, if you try to save the rook in the corner, knight takes, and now it's actually white that's for choice. So if you take, they can take here. So yeah, the game is not over by any means. I'm gonna have to delete all these moves, but yeah, I think Phoebe's gonna be fine. She just has to have confidence that she can take, and she's been playing confidently. She's been playing the top moves. She might be taking a bit of time to figure it out, but it's time well spent. It's definitely time well invested, and she's barely even down on the clock, actually. It's less than 10-minute difference. Well worth the positional advantage that she's made. So lots of twists and turns still that she has to navigate through to maintain her advantage. But I have the utmost confidence that she can convert, even against myself, to answer the question. Is 1669 her FIDE? Yes, that is her FIDE rating. What's up, Percy? Good to see you. How do you get out of queen takes c1? You mean f8? That's not something that you just don't block with the... You would have to be okay giving up this rook in the corner. if they sack, I'm assuming you're talking about queen takes on f8, you just take, and then after the other rook takes, I'm going to go down the line again. If we go here, rook f1, we take this just to keep grabbing material. We allow this sacrifice because we're okay with giving up the rook in the corner. The computer doesn't even want that move. Because now, like, okay, we can take here and everything's hanging again. But if we block to try to save, then we allow this fork, and that's no bueno. So, but honestly, I don't think Phoebe's looking at this quite just yet because, like, I don't know. It's not quite so obvious that white would play rook f1 in this position. There's a lot of ideas here that could be played. I don't know. Like, you could lift the rook to attack the knight is another example. I don't know. This makes sense because you're going to the open file. And pretty much no matter what, I guess black's going to just take on e5. This is a fantastic position for black. Yeah, she's not castled. Yeah, the queen comes in with check, grabbing a pawn. But if they don't take back the knight, they're going to be down a piece. And it's going to be worth it. Their attack is not enough compensation. Yeah, these games definitely last a long time. Does someone else update the virtual board? So the DGT boards are actually being sent to Lichess. And if you can tell by the clocks, we're using the Lichess clocks and the chess.com board. So we've got a bit of a hybrid. If you didn't notice that and that bothers you, I sincerely apologize for bringing that up. There's definitely got to be some chess website purists out there that are like, ugh, this is my worst nightmare. But you know what I like to say? I like to say that chess is chess. So doesn't really matter to me where the board is or the clocks for that matter. These players are playing in real life on a physical board. You know, back in the old days, people just had to like put the moves up on a giant board manually that people in person could look at. Nowadays, we've got the internet. It's a beautiful thing. So, and look, I can draw arrows and stuff. Like, that's crazy. Not only can I draw arrows, I could even change the color of the arrow. Look at that. I mean, wow. The year 2024. Wild. Wild times we live in. What's up, Gary? Shout out to Gary. Gifted me a sub. The only problem with the scene is the guy below the board. That's true. Now we just need Louise. That'd be much better. Oh, sorry, I'm still talking. I don't know if should I have All right, I'm back. I needed the break too, honestly. You were joking. People are touching grass way too much nowadays. What a quote. Yeah, people in 1900, we would have flying cars in 2024. In reality, we can play chess with different colored arrows. Anyways, all right, Phoebe's really thinking here. 48 minutes now, just under that. She has to find some confidence and belief in herself to go down this line. There's no alternative that would hold such an advantage for her. Queen takes on f7. She cannot be afraid of this. She has king d8, and she runs. It's worth the material. She might think there's compensation, but it's not there. She must take the bishop. Props to the opponent. This is a tricky move for sure. This was not something that was on my radar, the move prior. This queen discovery combined with the knight attack can definitely be very scary. The knight and queen, some would say, is the deadliest combo of two pieces in chess because they complement each other so well. So lots of attacks that you can come up with. Phoebe using the knight in combo herself with knight takes on f2. But now she has to save her knights somehow. She cannot save both the knight and the f7 pawn. It's not worth it. She has to go for this trade. Yeah, Connor, so the game yesterday, Phoebe was up a queen for a rook with a nice tactic, a discovery on the king. And maybe not the best played endgame by Phoebe, but both players obviously knew that she was completely winning, up a queen for a rook. Opponent did a good job trying to get some counterplay and was actually able to successfully come back. If they had doubled rooks on the second, Phoebe on her last move grabbed Black's last pass pawn, and it turns out that was also their last hope, as they had completely overlooked rook takes f2 with check, which was winning on the spot. So they resigned, which isn't crazy considering that they're just completely losing that entire endgame. So chess is largely in our heads, right? So if you're not in the right headspace, it's hard to find the right moves, right? And that's happened to me online as well. I've played moves that are completely losing, but I don't play them knowing that they're completely losing. I play them because I just don't see what's wrong with it. And then only after I see what's wrong with it, I'm like, wow, that was a really bad move. But sometimes the psychology works. You play a move that looks good, and your opponent agrees that it looks good, and they kind of trust you in that way. And so you mutually have a blindness towards tactics sometimes, right? That's very normal. I also like to say that blunders come in pairs. So when one player makes a mistake, oftentimes the other player will also blunder right back. And that could be in the form of a missed tactic, right? Both players missing something. That's very normal as well. So yeah, it's very easy to see the eval bar and be like, oh my God, this player resigned when they're completely winning. That's wild. I actually saw that happen online in, I believe it was the CCT, one of the lower divisions. There was a game between, it must have been two grandmasters. One player was completely winning, the other player was trying to get some counterplay. And at the very end, the player that was crushing blundered a mate in one. No, it wasn't mate in one. It must have been like a mate in two. Um, Something crazy. It was a crazy tactic that was like the result of two different pins, but both players obviously missed it, and the player that had mate in two on the board resigned in a completely winning position. But they thought that their attack had dwindled out. They just missed this crazy tactic. And if anyone's gonna fact check me on that, I'm gonna say I think it was Nicholas Theodoru. And if you really want me to, I could probably pull it up somewhere. But it was a long time ago, like a couple months ago. Um, Anyways, she took on e5. Really? Oh no. Ah, okay. That's not good. Okay, well, we're in for a surprise here, folks. Let's see what's going on in the mind of Phoebe. I think she's still gonna take the bishop on d3, but she's gonna take with the. Oh, she's gonna put herself into a pen. Oh, that's no bueno. Uh-oh. So opponent now is winning after they take on f4. So that's not good. Yeah, Phoebe got scared of the queen, but her fear is making her fears come true. She needed to take the bishop, allow the queen to come in, and she would have been better off. So that's a scary moment for sure, and unfortunate because now opponent can simply take the knight, and she doesn't have knight takes d3 anymore. So she could have been up a piece, and instead she's going to be down a piece. She will have three pawns. Um, yeah, opponent takes fairly quickly. And I'm guessing she's going to play f6. So, yeah, it's still very much a game, but not as good as it could have been. What's funny is if the king was on d8, she could take. Although knight takes is really annoying. So that's not good. What's up, Justin? So yeah, Phoebe had the confidence to take on f2, which was lovely to see. Unfortunately, did not carry over to this critical moment, and she spent a decent amount of time, was unable to figure out the position. She needed to trust that king d8, her opponent didn't have an attack, but it's not easy for sure. But game is far from over still. Um, what's going on? Yeah, so queen takes, the knight's pinned and also attacked twice, defended only once. So that's an issue right there. The knight cannot move because it's pinned, like we said. And you don't want to, or wait, can you play bishop d6? Bishop d6, and yeah, computer wants this exchange sacrifice because then f7 falls. And that's not easy to see either, actually. But yeah, the knight is defending f7. I figured f6 attacks the knight, defends the knight, and guards f7. But as they say, never play f6. So yeah, unfortunate. Phoebe's given her opponent really good chances here now, giving up the piece, and also Phoebe's under some pressure as being down the piece is not the worst of her concerns. She's in a tough spot where she needs to still get castled, And if she goes for the development move, trying to get castle, this allows for a nice tactical shot. Rook takes. If takes here, then we have queen takes, king d8 forced. We're allowing this to happen anyways. And the computer wants knight d to f3, also queen h5, threatening this fork on everything. Seems pretty good too. Also just knight takes works. Takes, queen takes. I mean, yeah, it's crazy. The material is even, but the computer just hates black's position. So even though like the eval is like, oh, this is fantastic for white, it's still not even clear. So yeah, you can go like queen d6, defend the pawn. And if you trade, yeah, rook takes, this is pretty good. But still, Phoebe would be up in exchange. You could threaten maybe back rank mate pretty quickly, and the fork. But anyways, let's not look too deep. That's just an example. This isn't even the top move. Neither is queen h5. It's saying knight d to f3, attacking this. Bishop f6. Wow, that's wild. That's not happening. This is why you can't invest too much into the computer evaluation. But wow, what on earth am I looking at? Oh my god, that's disgusting. Okay, sorry. I had to just see the end of that. That is insane. All right, let's try to get back into reality. In reality, Phoebe has 3 pawns for the piece, which is even material. She has an issue with the knight. The knight needs to be defended, and the knight cannot move because it's pinned. So she has a couple ideas, mainly f6 or bishop to d6. Computer's even saying queenside castles is a possibility, because if you lose the knight, there's always a fork. Hi, Jake. Thank you. All right. Either way, Phoebe's thinking here. Is there another chat, Ernest? Yes. Shout out to Phoebe. She should be linked in the title, but I also have a Phoebe command. Yeah, Phoebe this time blundering into a losing position. Unfortunately, opponent has not resigned. But yeah, Phoebe's still very much in this. It is far from over. We've seen the eval go one direction. It can go back in her favor. And like we saw in last game, it doesn't even matter which side the evaluation prefers. The only thing that matters is what happens at the end. So we still have a conclusion to come to. We're just going to get there in another way. Still very exciting. She's deep in thought, though. Unfortunately, the time is becoming an issue. We are on move 15. Or I guess queen takes f4 is move 16. So she still has 24 moves to make before she reaches the time control. Plenty of time left, but she really needs to go for f6 or bishop d6. One of these two moves. Opponent's still over an hour. So yeah, it's unfortunate to see, um, when the opponent is not taking so much time and blunders a tactic that Phoebe capitalizes on. You really wish to see that through to the end, but it's very difficult to be able to, uh, you know, convert winning positions. They say it's the hardest thing to do in chess. I don't know if I agree with that, but it's definitely difficult to do. So props to the opponent for playing the game out and trying his best. And yeah, knight to g5 was a tough test for Phoebe. Unfortunately, she was unable to capture the bishop when she needed to. And now she's playing queen takes on c3. Yeah, queen takes c3. This is tough. It gets you out of the pen, but it allows for rook takes. And maybe Phoebe's idea is that she's going to take the bishop, but the problem is f7 falls, right? So Phoebe, it's kind of ironic when you don't allow the f7 capture, but it ends up happening anyways, right? So um, maybe her biggest fear holding her back from doing what she should have done is what's allowing what she was most fearful of, which is unfortunate. So yeah, this is not going to be good for her, assuming opponent plays it properly. Starting with rook takes knight. There are maybe some back rank tricks once that rook leaves the back rank, but it looks like to me that at least white has enough control over the key squares. It's going to be hard for Phoebe's queen to get an advantage out of that. So I'm expecting the opponent to take the knight because the knight is defending f7. It's possible after rook takes she would then play f6. I can't help but feel it's not right. And yeah, after the knight is taken off the board, then really only her queen is in play. And the problem is she hasn't castled, right? So I'm looking at these rooks and I'm looking at this bishop. So in that moment, she had an opportunity to play bishop d6, trying to get castled, and that would have forced the opponent to find this nice exchange sacrifice to really continue their attack, which is still winning for white, but still complicated, right? Whereas meanwhile, here, opponent doesn't even need to sack the exchange. They can just trade the minor pieces and still get the attack, which is very fearful of this king that's going to be stuck in the middle of the board, and her pieces have not moved yet. So unfortunate. She had a really great, strong opening, really perfect, to be quite honest. She was just unable to convert after her beautiful tactic, sacrificing a knight on f2, but missing a key knight takes d3 opportunity. She had to brave the storm of the queen and knight combo. And now she's going to have to survive the storm because it's going to happen anyways. So that's another tough realization. She was too scared of it and decided to go down a different path, but unfortunately unable to see that it was going to happen anyways. So yeah. And she had a glance of not a pleasant position to be in, not a pleasant position or on the clock either. She's down a bit of time, a significant amount of time, I'd say at this point. But yeah, opponent's now using more time and thinking here. Again, expecting rook takes knight should be pretty straightforward, pretty clear. But I suppose he's doing his due diligence, double checking. Freed speaks saying Phoebe will be WFM by Q2 2025. I think Phoebe said that her goal is to get to FIDE or WFM by the age of 30. So she still has a ways to go. Yeah, WFM by 2025 I think is maybe a bit ambitious. It's possible. I don't know if Phoebe's planning on playing in enough tournaments to make that happen. Would love to see that. Janny asking, please show in 10 seconds the last few moves since she lost the advantage. I'm not going to time myself, so I'm apologizing in advance if it's not in your 10-second time frame. But this was the last moment that she had to really hold an advantage. She could have taken this bishop and allowed for queen takes f7, just being aware that she would have to run, but the attack does not follow through for white. So instead she takes on e5, she gets a third pawn, sacks the piece, and here after queen takes, was hoping for one of these two moves to defend the knight. Instead she takes the pawn, and this is where we are. So the knight is hanging, and when the knight goes, so too does f7. Derp says it's impossible. Definitely not impossible. Shout out to Premier Chess. Thank you for the raid. Welcome. I'm going to turn on my fan real quick. 1 second. It's a bright sunny day in LA. Sorry, Jello. I can't help it. It's too hot. But yeah, opponent not taking the knight immediately. So we're just gonna have to wait and see. Phoebe down about 20 minutes after her last few thinks. So it's good if opponent gives some time back here. I mean, to me, rook takes is fairly simple of a move, but there are a lot of other moves to consider. Rook b3 is one of them for sure. Making the queen move yet again and defending the bishop. And there, the computer wants this crazy queen a1 idea, keeping the rook pinned to the bishop. So that is one awkward point for white's position. There's back rank ideas, right? And the rooks are also disconnected because of the bishop, which could be an issue once one of the rooks leave the back rank. There's always ideas of back rank mate. So that it could be one source of hesitation for our opponent to not take the knight with the rook. But this is similar to like when Phoebe needed to take on d3, you have to trust that the attack isn't there. So even though white does maybe give up some chances by making this capture, and Phoebe can then take a bishop, you know, looking at some key squares. Opponent has to trust that Phoebe's attack doesn't really follow through, whereas White's attack does. So this knight being the defender of f7 is good enough reason to take it. Obviously, you have to make sure you're not losing immediately or giving up too much compensation, but queen takes bishop there is not ending well. It's really rough when your king is just stranded in the middle, running around. You would play rook b3, plotter. Yeah, it's a strong move, very strong move. Both rook takes e5 and rook b3 are the top two choices, and they're both reading in at over +5 of an advantage. The next best is saying bishop to b5, just simply moving the bishop off that attacked square and looking to take a very key defender away from this king. This light square bishop's the only other piece that Phoebe has developed. So removing that would be good as well. That's reading at +4.6, which is pretty significant. There's a chance that opponent does something completely different. Who knows? I mean, maybe even bishop here could be played. Like, it's probably still good. I don't know. So we're gonna have to wait. Opponent's taking their sweet time. But yeah, as far as the eval goes, there was a position. Okay, here we go. Rook b3 is played. I don't even think Phoebe will play queen a1. I mean, she kind of has to, right? If she wants to keep pressure. After queen a1, there's even queen takes knight. Just another free piece. But yeah, queen takes c3 was not really the move. It did not sufficiently defend the knight. And this threat of taking the bishop back doesn't work either. Because of this rook to b3 idea, which attacks the queen and defends the bishop through the queen. I guess with an x-ray. What's interesting here is you could say, okay, knight takes with a fork. So take my queen, I'll take yours. That would be great, if not for the knight's purpose of defending f7. So knight takes, hitting the queen. White simply then plays queen takes f7 with check, intermezzo, and only then taking the queen. Yeah, maybe Phoebe gets the rook at the end, but probably not going to end well. How can she save this? It's a good question, Dijon. She needs a blunder. Not her to blunder, her opponent to blunder. So unfortunately, yeah, if white plays perfectly, they can convert and win. So we're really relying. Yeah, Phoebe comes back, so she doesn't even go for the trickiest queen a1, trying to keep this. But yeah, like I said, there's just simply queen takes knight there. So it would have been a queen trade at least. So instead she goes back. Where does she go? I'm waiting for the board to update. Should I pause the feed again? We're a little behind. When I say we're behind, I mean the lead chessboard is behind. We're ahead on the clock. Okay. So she played queen back to c7, yeah. So that is very unfortunate. I don't know. It just looks like a lot of stuff is hanging. So white has already moved. So then I'm gonna pause the feed again. Maybe catch us up on some time. By how much? I don't exactly know. So knight takes f7. This is the second best move. Top choice, I prefer bishop to b2. But okay, yeah, our knight's pinned. Our rook is hit. Our knight's hit. Um, yeah. I mean, maybe bishop d6 now, but still, like, white has so many good moves there. Um, what's really brutal is there's even rook takes here. Oh, it doesn't quite work. I was going to say if knight takes, knight here is a huge fork. All right, well, my poor analysis has given hope to a potential tactic that could be blundered. There's knight takes f7 here. So if rook takes, bishop takes, and Phoebe's back to a better position. Okay, I gotta play the clock. Not the clock, but... Probably the video's a little behind now. I guess we'll see when we get there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing's perfect. Especially not me. Okay. But yeah, knight takes f7. So, yeah, if bishop to d6, there's simply knight takes, and then the knight falls. There's also the rook that's hanging in the corner. So white has their choice of how to win, but they could also lose if they blunder, which, again, it's very possible. I've seen worse blunders from better positions. I mean, I've played them myself, so. But yeah, Phoebe has to find a defense here that doesn't really exist. I don't even know if I should be reading off the top moves, as they're all pretty dire. One move is to simply play bishop c5. I mean, honestly, yeah, my bishop d6 idea doesn't look that bad compared to that. The next best is to say take on c1, so that's not going to happen. Next best is g5. g5 is kind of interesting. It attacks the queen. So there's that. That could be annoying. That was not a move coming to my mind. But it attacks the queen. I mean, what more could you want? It makes a lot of sense. If knight takes, you alleviate a lot of this pressure, right? And then you can go for bishop d6, and okay, yeah, you're allowing queen up. Or no, you're still not. I guess, wait. Okay, g5, yeah. If queen takes, then I figured we could go to e7. Okay, yeah, there's that hanging, but we save our rook in the corner, at least. But yeah, knight takes. A computer saying bishop g7. I was gonna go here. Knight takes e6. That's kind of wild. I actually don't see what this follow-up is. Just queen f6. Oh, fork. Okay. King here. Okay. Oh. Alright, you know, that's not so easy to find. Yeah, maybe g5 is a good try from Phoebe. Not easy to play, though. Knight to d3. So, the knight cannot move because we're pinned. Let's see. I see your point, though. You get some material for the queen, but it's not going well. We don't have this move because of that, so yeah, rook takes b7 is quite the dagger at the end of that line. And yeah, I think like if you were to take away a lesson from this game, I think that obviously missing the knight takes d3 tactic was where she really lost the initiative, the thread. But if you could take a more generic lesson away, I would say that there was this moment where she took on c3 when she should have taken that moment to try to defend this knight, which would have ultimately like tried to stop this capture on f7. But mainly I'm thinking about developing just so that I can try to get castled. To me, this position is so bad because she hasn't castled, because her rooks cannot play. White is playing with all of their pieces. I mean, maybe not all of them, but more so than Phoebe, for sure. So even though, like, technically in this position, the material is equal, it's about to collapse because she doesn't have everything out enough in time to really deal with all of these threats. So Phoebe won the opening for sure. She won the beginning of the game. She missed a key tactic in the middle game. Opponent finds this tricky knight g5 discovery on the knight and on f7, and Phoebe was unable to pull the trigger on the bishop on d3, which led her down this rabbit hole, unfortunately, that all the tactics are not in her favor. So that would kind of be my synopsis of the game so far, but of course, game is not over yet. We still have a couple of moves to be played. Knight takes f7 is quite the dagger, and I fear that it's not going to be the end of it. So tricky spot to be in for sure. There was this line, bishop d6, rook takes b7. Potential way for white to really blunder and mess up. I mean, this was a tactic that I immediately thought of because knight takes bishop with the fork would be really nice, winning the queen. But this does not work for a lot of reasons. But just to show, knight takes is a way for Phoebe to get back into the game. But white doesn't have to do this, of course. White can take on d6 and then take the knight. White can take this knight, winning 2 pieces. Computer doesn't like this so much, I guess. That's another way, I suppose. Even that isn't that bad, I guess, for white. Maybe. I mean, it's interesting. What if they like block with something like this? We have rook here, and now we're winning, actually. So yeah, I think there's ways for white to go wrong for sure with bishop to d6. Knight takes, and they have to take with the queen here. Very important so that they don't lift the rook off the back rank. So still waiting on Phoebe's response here. Yeah, this pen is really annoying. So I think just bishop d6. Another thing that's wrong with this is just knight takes on h8. She's got a castle here. Probably the knight can come back to f7. Takes. I don't know. It's... Oh, sorry. That's hanging. It's not over. It's not over. It might be over soon, but we need to see what happens. So it's possible Phoebe could stir up some trouble still. I'm looking at bishop d6. The computer does not recommend it. Computer's saying g5, I think, is a possible try to stir up some trouble. But yeah, Phoebe's getting down to 20 minutes, so she's going to have to find a move here somewhat soon. Thank you, Thunder Pork, for the positive vibes. Appreciate those, as always. And yeah, like at the end of the day, Phoebe might not win this game, but it's a long tournament. She still has tons of rounds left, and she also got a win in the first round. So she's 1 for 1 right now. Would be great to go 2 for 2, of course, a perfect score. but it's tough. Her opponent is higher rated than her. I think her opening is already a good sign that Phoebe's ready for this tournament. She prepped well. She found a difficult tactic to find, and I think she just lost her way in the middle game, which happens all the time. And I think it's a really good learning experience. It's exciting to be able to know that you can be winning so early on against higher rated opponents. She just has to work on that technique, right? It's a bit of calculation. It's a bit of confidence, I think. So those are things that are easy to work on. Um, you know, just takes time and practice. I think she definitely has confidence in key moments, and she definitely can calculate well. So it's just being able to do them both consistently, right? She was able to do it initially with knight takes f2, but unable to find it again with knight takes d3. So that was really kind of a super night for her. That knight taking on f2, going to h3, going to f4. She needed to find this capture on d3, and instead she gave up that knight. That knight was doing so much for her. Unfortunately, once that knight falls, then so too does her position, which is collapsing right now. So she could definitely bounce back from this, and she could bounce back even in this game. It's very much not over yet. She just has to find a couple of these trickier options, right? She can't really just fold over. It's tough though when you have two things hanging, the queen potentially hanging. But she has to continue on. She has to try like bishop d6 or g5 and show that she's not going to just roll over here. She still has some fight left. There's still some tricks and traps that she can set, really posing a tough question to the opponent. So yes, it is very much so winning for white, and I believe a move was just made. Bishop d6 played, so she's played my suggestion, and this time I know she can't hear me. I double checked. Don't want to let that happen again. How delayed is the camera now? How much do I have to fast forward? Here she goes. Okay. So let's try to fast forward this a little bit. So there was this game that I was watching at the Botez Invitational, played by Nemo and Alexander Botez, where Botez was up a piece, and the eval was reading -6.5 over that in her favor, and yet Nemo was able to still hold it to a draw. And I know what you guys might be thinking. Well, Phoebe isn't Nemo. Yeah, but the opponent is also not Alexander Botez. So it's very different games. Even at higher levels, players fail to convert, right? So I think Phoebe's played a good practical move here, bishop to d6. And this allows for a couple of complications. The opponent can still slip. And yeah, I'm curious to see. Like, imagine rook takes on b7. This is a really fancy move that could get white into some serious trouble. That's kind of what I'm hoping for. I could totally see it happening. You play this move, knight takes f7, thinking like, okay, I'm hitting the rook, I'm hitting the knight, and there's also this bishop takes, or knight takes bishop on d6 check. It could be very tempting to try to go for this idea and just forgetting like, oh yeah, your knight's still on f7. Like, let's not forget that knight was pinned and now it's no longer pinned. That's something that people forget about all the time. So, um, opponent I think could very well slip and blunder back here right now. They have a ton of time, but they've been playing quickly, so it's possible that they mess up. What's up, GP Bear? Good to see you. Um, yeah, Dina and Anna both blundered a piece. Um, I mean, Dina blundered first. Anna looked like she was completely winning, and she was completely crushing, but Dina didn't give up, and she was able to bring it back to a draw. Here, Phoebe's not even down material. She very well could be on the next move if the opponent takes that rook that's for free in the corner. But, you know, ignoring that, like, the opponent could really blunder. There's definitely some tricks. Like, bishop d6, I think, is a good try. Okay, what did opponent do? Did they take the knight? No, they took the bishop. Yeah, knight takes with check, queen takes, and now what are we hoping for? I guess the knight's just hanging. All right, so white's turn. White now can just take this this knight. They don't even need to take the knight, technically. Let's see, what do they play? Bishop a3. Yeah, that's really annoying. That is actually the top move. So the queen has to move again. And that also cuts us off from castling. I guess the queen's already cutting us off, but it's also protecting against rook f8. But yeah, good position for white. I'm expecting queen back to c7, and then I'm expecting some sort of capture on e5. Computer saying rook f8 is possible. It's another idea. Doesn't quite help us. Yeah, queen takes a3 is second. It's one of them for sure. I think she'll play queen c7. Let's see what Phoebe comes up with here. Yeah, bishop a3 is a nice touch by the opponent. Just, again, developing with tempo. A lovely move. You love to do this whenever you can. And, yeah, Phoebe's still not quite able to get castled just yet. And, yeah, you don't want to be in these sort of positions where you're just behind so much in development and you're losing material. Even down a piece, though, there's still chances. So again, I think it's mainly the, like, regardless of the material, it's like, yeah, you're losing the knight, but besides losing the knight, you're down the activity of the pieces. The rooks aren't involved and your king's in the middle of the board, right? And it's very difficult to castle or to activate the pieces again. So that's why the computer likes rook f8. It's like, yeah, I mean, maybe we're losing material, but like at least we get maybe a queen trade, maybe some activity. The downside is, like, you can't really afford to do that. I think you have to play something like queen c7. And even queen c7, I'm wondering if there's like even rook here. Yeah, computer wants to take, but I wonder if you go to b8. Oh, this is filthy. I don't think we're going to see that, but it just kind of shows the point. Pythonian, thank you for the prime. Appreciate that. Welcome. I guess there's like a block here. And then this is kind of alleviated, so that's nice. Okay, but the problem is there's still this nasty pen. Alright, let's go back to this position. Yeah, expecting her to play Queen C7. She's under 20 minutes. Opponent's gonna get up and think a little bit. Walk around. Yeah, opponent definitely did well to stay composed after blundering a tactic. So hard to think that they'll slip up now. Yeah, bishop to d6. Opponent didn't fall for any of the blunders that I was hoping for. So, but I mean, still, how funny would it be if we play this game out and then at the very last move, opponent finally slips up and blunders and Phoebe's back to winning and then she resigns, balancing out the actions of yesterday's events. For those that missed, definitely recommend checking out the VOD and rewatching that conclusion. Phoebe getting a win from a resignation out of a completely lost position after she had been winning for the whole game. So who knows? Maybe they could set that up. Paid actor, if you will, perhaps. Wait, did Phoebe make her move? I see the clock is swapped. I should fast forward the video again. So let's see. Phoebe's about to make her move. There it is. Yeah, Queen C7. Yeah, let's try fast forwarding this a little bit. Let's see. Does that help? Yeah, Queen C7. I mean, what else? I think Rook here would be nice to see, but the knight's not quite off the hook yet. Probably now we'll see this capture. It's possible the opponent didn't want to trade queens. They wanted to take with a rook, but they didn't want to blunder the bishop. Oh, I guess the bishop wouldn't have been blundered because the queen was here. But yeah, there's no longer these back rank checks. Let me go turn off my fan. What's up, Chess Weeb? Good to see you. Shout out to Danish. Danish was streaming the St. Louis Chess Club just the other day. Shout out to the St. Louis Chess Club. But yeah, we're watching Phoebe Witte's round 2 of the Lewis Chess Legends in Norway. She's unfortunately in a losing position here, down 30 minutes on the clock. But she played a fantastic opening, actually had a much better position, and unfortunately just missed a key idea and is now behind in development. And she's going to be down a knight, assuming the opponent takes it. He's been delaying this capture for quite some time, actually. So we'll see if he's ready to take it now. And yeah, this is move 20, so they're halfway to the time control. I don't know if we'll see another 20 moves. I think that would be kind of unexpected. We see some hesitation. He was about to grab this knight. I think he's still going to do it. No, he goes for the queen move. Okay, he's going for checkmate. Understandably. Very understandable. Queen G5 played. A nasty move, indeed. Keeping the pressure on the knight. Can we play knight C6? He could slip up here. I'm doing well, Danish. How are you? Thank you. Okay. Knight c6. You know, opponent does not take the knight, and now it's completely winning still for white, but it's not over. It is not over. Knight c6 saves the knight from the attack, and it saves the checkmate. So, I mean, what's the guy's idea here? Phoebe's given an opportunity, a chance. Let me try fast forwarding this again. Let's see if that helps. Yeah, when's the next chess sweep stream? Last seen playing Gunfire Reborn. I don't know what that one is. But regardless of what chess sweep streams, I'm sure it would be a good time. Imagine not taking the knight. Yeah, it's a little fancy. This guy might be a little too fancy for his pants. This could be an opportunity missed. And perhaps an opportunity taken from Phoebe. I don't know the follow-up after knight c6 it wants queen to h4. I mean, that's kind of not very logical what the computer's saying. So, yeah, knight c6, it's funny, the eval is at +7.5 for white. I guess we are kind of in a zugzwang of sorts. I guess after knight c6, queen h4 is threatening bishop g6. I mean, I see it, I guess, but I don't know. Of the saying, so there are no chances left. That's not true. Definitely, there's always chances. Okay, Phoebe does not go for... Wait, what did she... Wait, did she just blunder mate? What? What did she play? Bishop. Oh, bishop move. My bad. I thought she moved something else. Okay. Okay, so yeah, the bishop moves with the counterattack on the rook. Computers found a checkmate with rook takes. Yeah, I'm wondering, I guess here maybe there was like bishop. I don't know. This was definitely, I think, a better try. But you know, good chances. Opponent hasn't taken the knight for so long. Uh, but yeah, this king is so cut off. It's very unfortunate. There's just no castling in sight. Wow, FPS. I thought that was first person shooter. Apparently it's also fancy play syndrome. I was hoping it would be fancy pants syndrome. But okay. So do we have some more moves on the board? Yeah, rook takes knight now was played. So yeah, like the guy really doesn't care if you take this rook, and frankly, I don't blame him. Because, you know, you can't really allow, yeah, the bishop kind of had an important job. It's more so like maybe even not defending the pawn, but maybe just not allowing the knight to be captured. Like opponent didn't do it for so long. Played queen g5 threatening checkmate. And yes, you have to defend checkmate. So moving the bishop is a discovery of the queen to defend, but there was another opportunity. You could have saved the knight and defended mate with knight to c6. Now, still completely entirely winning for white, but I think it leads to a path that would make white have to work for it a little bit harder, and perhaps making it more difficult to convert a winning position. This is not the path of most resistance. I guess it's probably not the path of least resistance either. Um, but definitely a good move here from white to take the knight. Like there's no threat. This is a pseudo threat, perhaps a bluff of Phoebe's, if you will. I mean, she could take the rook, but probably the game will end in the game would end very quickly there. Um, and yeah, I think the game's gonna end quickly regardless. Unfortunate for Phoebe fans, myself included. Um, yeah, shout out to Eric. Eric's playing in this event and also streaming it. Also, hello to Rai Bisley. I don't know if I've said that out loud before. Did I say that right? I don't know. Can I just call you Rai, maybe? Who knows? All right, so the game ended. I see they've set up the board again, so I think I missed a handshake or something. But yeah, Phoebe couldn't pull herself to make another move. So unfortunate game. Phoebe started off very well. Fantastic opening. Maybe even a perfect opening, you could say, for Phoebe. But yeah, stick around, you guys. We're going to have an interview. So give us a moment to set that up. Phoebe did not win this one, unfortunately. So she resigned. But yeah, if you guys have some questions in the chat. Oh, here we have a close-up. So yeah, let me see if I can set this up real quick. But yeah, fantastic opening again. Loved knight takes f2. She just missed knight takes d3. So it's unfortunate that you would be able to find such a great tactic and be unable to convert it. So that was definitely a missed opportunity. But let's see. Oh yeah, it's funny. She messaged me when she ended. So yeah, the game was actually on a delay. So Phoebe in the last 15 minutes has been analyzing the game with her opponent. So she's in the middle of that right now, but let's see if we can get her on call. And we'll be bringing her in shortly. So get those questions ready. Big Joe. Yeah, this is what happens when we lose the playing hall cam. But maybe I could add the board and share that with you all. Okay, so let's go from the start, perhaps, while we wait for Phoebe to join us. Okay, Phoebe said she's on the way. Well, yeah, we had a transposition out of d4 into a French advance. I'm just going to try to go through quickly. Here, opponent castled, allowing for a gambit. Knight here, opponent didn't take. Knight b d2, I think, was a mistake, allowing for Phoebe to take now. So there's no longer the knight recapture, and Phoebe's very comfortably up a pawn. And now she also gets the knight off the edge of the board and creates this really tremendous attack on f2. Very awkward to defend. And this is where we see knight takes. And yeah, bishop c5 would win the queen if attacked. But Phoebe is calling me now, so let's join this. Hello. I can't hear you. Let's see. Hi, Phoebe. Are you muted? Perhaps? Or missing a mic? I don't know. Either way, lovely scenery. Looks good out there. Yeah, it's a little blurry, but that's okay. Yeah, she's muted for me too. So, but she can hear me, it seems. 1 second. We're gonna do some lip reading. Okay, she's getting her AirPods. In the meantime, let us know if you guys have any questions in chat. I know the fans are
I know that you're,
oh, I can hear myself now.
I can hear my
Echo.
Hello?
Hi.
hi.
Oh, I fixed it actually.
Headphones would still be
Uh,
great because I hear myself.
Oh, okay. Someone is bringing them like in like 1 second.
Awesome.
Mm.
Actually, I don't hear myself anymore, so maybe this is fine.
I I did it a bit lower the volume.
All right. Well, first and foremost, that was a fantastic opening that you played. I think that was perfect. And knight takes f2 was such a brilliant move. So beautiful. I wanted to ask, how does it feel to see that and then play it?
I actually I prepared because I knew he was gonna play the Milner Berry Gambit, and I have like two whole files in preparation against the Milner Berry Gambit. And this is one of the lines where Queen e2 is kind of a mistake. Um, so I knew that taking on f2 was okay, but I just forgot because I was just a bit confused because he had rook b8, so I was a bit scared, but I thought it still worked. But yeah, I felt like I was okay, but I'm so sad because I feel like I could have played better.
Well, it's definitely a great position that you had and an unfortunate blunder that you missed. So yeah, you could have played better, but at the same time, everyone always has room for improvement. And I think that this game, you have a lot of lessons that you could take away from it. I know you were
Mhm.
analyzing a little bit with your opponent. Did you look at where maybe you lost your advantage?
Yeah, I thought actually when he played knight g5, um, and kind of if I put my knight away, he could take on f7. But I thought maybe instead of because I took on e5 with my knight, which was very bad. I think was really not good. I missed a lot of things he could play. But I think I maybe have taken the bishop was because I didn't see like an immediate mate.
Yeah, that was definitely the moment that you lost your advantage was after his knight move. Um, you could have taken the bishop. So
And I
yeah,
was still had a good position then, or was it equal?
you were winning for sure. So like if queen takes f7, you just play king d8 and you're up a piece.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I was so close to that, but I was like, no, this is very scary. And then I didn't do it. And then I played the worst move you can play.
I mean, I don't think it was the worst move, but but yeah, if you don't take the bishop, the problem is you lose your knight, right? And so you would have to be comfortable allowing queen takes f7, just realizing that their attack doesn't actually
Yeah.
follow through to anything. And
Mhm.
definitely, we agreed with you. It was definitely scary. But the problem is,
Yeah.
if you didn't do it, like it happens anyways, right? Like in the game, he ended up taking on f7 anyways.
Yeah.
And I think there
Yeah.
were
Yeah. I was really thinking about it because I was taking a lot of time, I feel like, and I was so close to taking the bishop, but then I got super scared because he could also then take the pawn on b7, right? And I thought all his pieces are coming around my king, and yeah, it was very scary.
Yeah. So that was unfortunate, a miss that ended up costing the game.
Yeah,
But other than that, you're still with an even score, 1-1, and you still have a lot of chess left, and a lot of people are still rooting for you, excited for the next games. How's the travel and the
yeah.
trip been besides the chess?
A very nice. I like we have a really nice look. It's kind of like it's like a castle-ish. So
It's beautiful.
yeah, it's really nice here.
Um, we had some fans wondering, you posted in the Discord that maybe you weren't feeling so well. How do you feel now?
A bit better. I don't know. I think I maybe ate something wrong, or maybe it was just stress because I've been very stressed, been very stressed with everything. So maybe it's just also stress, but definitely better now that I'm done with my game. So yeah, it's a bit better.
And next round tomorrow, you will have the white pieces, right?
I think
Hopefully.
so, yeah. I think so. And I think also lower rated player. Well, I actually don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, that's definitely what we would expect. It's funny how good your prep was with the black pieces. You knew the Milner Berry Gambit, which
Yeah.
is something that I had never even heard of. So,
Yeah, it's I feel like it's getting more popular these days, and that's why I have so much on it because I I feel like I'm pretty well prepared in the French, and the only thing I didn't know was the Milner Berry Gambit, so now I'm kind of really into beating the Milner Berry Gambits. But I
well,
didn't beat the Milner Berry
the
Gambit.
prep was very impressive today, and I think we're all
Thank
excited to
you.
see what you come up with tomorrow with the white pieces. If you, hopefully
Yeah.
you get white.
Are you commentating tomorrow too?
No, I'll be back on Saturday. So,
Okay.
yeah, you have a very exciting lineup. I could look up
Yes.
who you have tomorrow if you want.
I think Dirk says it's Akin.
Yes, it will be Agna tomorrow, followed by Anushka, and then I'll be joining Anushka, and then it'll be Luis and me. It's all listed in the
Ah,
Discord, so
true.
people should go
Yes.
check out the Discord, see the lineup there. It's a fantastic lineup. Besides myself, of course, I'm only filling in where needed, but I'm looking forward to all the commentary. Phoebe's brought the best, and it's awesome to see a lot of people tuning in from around the world to support you, Phoebe, and we're all very excited and grateful that you were able to make this trip and play in this tournament and share it with us all. So thank you very much. Lots of rounds left, lots of exciting chess left, and we're all looking forward to it.
Yes. Me too. Thank you so much for commentating. I hope everything went well. Also with the delay, I know it's not ideal, but I hope it went well for you, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I think things went well, and uh, I guess we're wrapping up here, so we're gonna find someone to raid. Um,
Is Eric Rosen still in this game?
that is a good question. It looks like he's still alive.
Let's rate him then.
Sounds good. Yeah, he's still playing. I guess you could go and watch in person if you wanted to.
Yeah, he's playing like 2 tables away from me.
Actually, yeah, if I could ask another question, how's the experience been?
Yes.
Like, you've met Eric. I'm assuming you've also met
Yeah.
Pia and Hammer both for the first time.
Yeah, I have not talked yet to Pia and Hammer. I did see them. I'm a bit shy, so I have not gone up to them, but I did talk to Eric, and he's really nice. So that was really nice to meet him.
Yeah, and honestly, I'm sure they're all starstruck meeting you as well. So that's an experience. I've met all of them except Pia, which would be amazing. But
Oh. So
also,
you met Hammer too?
yeah, I met Hammer in 2019. He actually signed the board behind me. You can't really see it in this frame, but uh, I don't know if I can
That's
better
so
show it. But
cool.
anyways, I can't wait to
That's
meet
very
Phoebe. She's definitely one of the biggest celebrities out there. And
right.
I mean,
Yes.
right now I just have
Definitely.
to enjoy the experience of commentating her games and being able to talk to her over Discord. But one of these days, hopefully we'll make it happen.
Yes, we would love to meet you too, Joe.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll let you
Thank you,
get your
Joe.
your rest and maybe some food and enjoy the rest of the games.
Yeah, thank you. Really appreciate it. And thank you to everyone for watching and being here. Really appreciate you all. And yeah, I'll see you on Saturday then again uh and everyone else tomorrow.
Yeah, and I'll be tuning in, so I might not be commentating, but I'll
Oh,
definitely be
oh,
rooting
then I'll
for you,
see you
of course.
tomorrow too.
Yes. All right. Thank you
That's
so
nice.
much.
It's very nice.
Take care.
Bye.
All right. Well, that was round two of Phoebe's tournament. Stick around for this raid. We're going to send you all off to Eric Rosen, who's still playing in this raid tournament. And we'll be back same time tomorrow, but with Agna. So stay tuned. Thanks again, everyone. Take care. Bye.